Alright. All that Bloodhound's Fang theorizing, especially the conclusion that I came to where Bloodhound's Finesse would actually be really good on a Spellsword build, made me want to play a Pure Int build again. And this level 49 character is all over the place stats-wise, because you start Vagabond for stat optimization on this build, and it's all over the place, but I have a +6 Meteoric Ore Blade, same method that I got my +6 Bloodhound's Fang in the previous miniseries method. And, you know, I'm gonna fight this Putrid avatar. And, look, I'm not a god, I'm definitely human. I've got my Charge R2 set up here, and I fought this guy many times early. You can already see I'm a little bit too confident. I'm still going. I took that one hit there, and you might be able to tell the damage is quite spicy on this setup at level 49. Get your Golden Vow, your Physic that has +10 strength and plus charge attack. Of course, Axe Talisman to go with the charge attacks. And this Meteoric Ore Blade has, well, two-handed. It's great with a extra stance damage, but as a katana, it already has more stance damage. So we were just very spicy. Of course, the custom moveset that Ichimonji double is fantastic. Charged, uncharged, depending on the encounter. It's a lovely time. And you can see, breaking stance right in front of the enemy instead of breaking stance when you are going away from them, with, say, the first animation of the Bloodhound's Finesse, it's just so much better than the latter. Breaking stance when you can take advantage of it right in front of the guy is so good. Whether if it's getting damage, getting a burrito, and then taking the grab, or whether it's just spamming out whatever big DPS or big chunking that you could imagine. And here's the big pain, guys. I'm not perfect. I definitely had a brief amount of pain there. Yeah, one hit. But that was my first try. It is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta say, it is what it is, and keep going. I am at level 49 after all. Got my Vagabond armor and Banished Knight chest piece. Great defenses. Fantastic. Meteorite staff. I'm not using the turtle shell just because I feel like it's going to be a bad habit. Sure, there are a bunch of weapons that will only be able to be used on this character two-handed, in which case, you know, it wouldn't be just nearly as convenient to just have the Meteorite staff, or any staff, later on in this run, which would incentivize like one-handing or just going back and forth, doing custom combos. No. It would all be like one or the other. Usually just weapon in that regard, so I have a bunch of them in my inventory. There's a variety of them that you could use with the build that I have set up. So this is just a PVE 150 build with restrictions. I'm not going to use any of the most OP stuff, but I'm probably going to use Moonveil. Using the Moonveil metric, like I mentioned in the last miniseries, it's really just like, okay, what is From Software balanced towards? They want to balance towards a certain power level of gear, and they leave a certain amount of stuff untouched above that, and I think that's like strange design. I think that's an issue, because it's like, just balance your game, bro. Just like show the community that you have an understanding of the most OP things and take care of them. But certain things that provide ease in terms of convenience, like Moonveil does, like the Unsheath with Uchi and the like, Nagakiba, they went and nerfed all that. Which, you know, that's fair, because it's convenient. You know, they went and nerfed Rivers of Blood because, well, that one's also still extremely powerful in PvE, that is. So, fair. I don't know if I'm going to go Moonveil just because of the Meteoric Ore Blade right now. There are things stronger than Moonveil on an int build, namely a variety of spells, and then also a couple of weapons that are somber weapons. Number one is the Death's Poker. That thing can start to one-shot bosses, which, you know, just a little bit stronger than your Moonveil. And then a Wing of Astel, which is just absolutely ridiculous shredding and stance damage at a really sizable AoE, plus Curved Sword with a free projectile that does stance damage. I mean, that thing is as strong as the Dark Moon Greatsword should be. But still, way too strong. Comet Azure and Meteorite of Astel, I've had my fun with those spells and during my first run. That was fantastic while it lasted. And then I got really bored of it because, you know, I'd rather just properly engage with the bosses, you know what I'm saying? Just more fun. More fun to me. More fun to most people. That's also why you see most people, including me, not going Spirit Summons. I've tried Spirit Summons, of course Mimic Tier, first run. Second run, I did Spirit Summons, but without Mimic Tier, and also no Tiche. And I found it was too strong. And so the only Spirit Summons that I allow right now, well, there's, I mean, two. Specifically when you're trying to get the Graven Mass Talisman, you need to use the Fanged Bashes, and that's fair. Oh, technically 3 because of the jellyfish, but I don't really use that talisman anyway. Yeah. Gonna fight Blackblade Kindred here. Final Spirit Summon that I do allow on my runs that I don't really use are the Soul Jars of Fortune. Because the main thing about Spirit Summons is that they take a bunch of aggro, and Soul Jars of Fortune, they explode. So it's basically just like casting a spell. They don't really take that much aggro. Check out that burst damage, by the way. Very nice. Yeah, they don't really take aggro. They just they blow themselves up, and it's like a weird little spell that you cast that summon some silly little guys that go boom. And that's nice. That's cute. But I don't really use that because I have other silly little spells on this run that go boom, or a bunch of other strategies that I don't want to sit around and go ding ding, you know, summon, what have you. Not interested. Especially because I also have mana to be using. More than something to be using for any sort of very basic spirit summon that would be similar to the Soul Jars of Fortune, of which I don't think there is one right now. I wanted that burrito so bad. Oh well. This boss in this area is janky as hell. Don't feel bad if you are having a terrible time to this guy. He's really janky. Sometimes the verticality of the area will fuck you over. Sometimes the verticality of the area will fuck the boss over. You know, it's a total crapshoot. You can become very skilled after a long while, like I have been. But I'm not perfect, and I'm probably never going to be perfect, because that's just how the boss is designed with this area. I assume that From Software designed the Valiant Gargoyles first, and any other flat ground gargoyles, and then just slapped them in these vertical areas, and were like, yeah, these are fine. No, they're not fine. But, you know, it's fine. Oof, terrible mistake there. Bit of a performance issue too, but that's okay. I'm used to it. Gotta upgrade my PC at some time. Anyway, I'm gonna have a couple more attempts at this. I think I have one more attempt before I realize, hey, I'm not using my stone barbed cracked crystal tier that I just got from that Putrid avatar, and that makes me feel much better about these two deaths that I have to this guy, because, well, A, it's only 2 deaths, and I'm at level like 50 something. That's fine, right? I feel good. But B, you know, the time that I actually beat him, I have the correct setup. So I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Speaking of setup, I have Rocksling here. Maybe I should have used it. Who knows? I'm so in the zone that I don't know. I'm not too used to just taking out Rocksling versus this guy. Usually I'm just in the zone because of all the jank that happens. But I do want to talk about some of the spells which I don't really allow. At a certain point, I don't allow Carrion Slicer. I do allow it early game just because it's really not going to compete versus the Somber 6 weapon. And later on, it becomes a absolute no-skill boss shredder, so I don't allow that. What have you. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh yeah, Meteorite of Astel and Comet Zero I've already mentioned. Don't allow that. I feel like there's something else, but I can't properly place it. Yeah, I don't remember. That's fine. Just a few things. It's not really that much anyway. But, you know, this build being partially physical, of course. Any sort of these builds are going to be partially physical unless you're going like a Faith Spell Sword with the Coated Sword or the Cipher Pata, right? Or a Pure Caster, but like why would you? It's not mechanically incentivized unless you're... You know what? It's never mechanically incentivized for progression. As long as you have infusions, and we've had them since Demon Souls, then, you know, have a weapon that you can have, you know? That's a good idea. Have something. Oof. Bad roll. And I die. Oh well. But yeah, Meteoric Orblade, this is just a fantastic one because, well, it's got a solid amount of physical, so it's going to be buffed up nice by Flame Grant Me Strength. I get 15 Faith for that. Well, with this type of Faith, I can also make use of Order's Blade, so that I can deal with Death Birds and Deathrite Birds. That's cool. More on that later. That requires 13 int, 13 Faith. But at 15 Faith, well, yes, we have Electrify Armament, which is nice for Abducted Virgins. Well, there is also Gelmir's Fury, Roiling Magma, and Magma Shot. Magma Shot's not that spicy. It's just a whatever spell. But Roiling Magma, being able to set up damage in advance that's going to go off, and then use something like, oh, I don't know, Gravitas on your good old Meteoric Orblade here, to pull enemies inward, and then take advantage of that, and let them all blow up, and then maybe charge up a spice little R2 on your own side of things. It's like, oh, you can see where the combo's coming from. And that's pretty spicy. But also, just breaking stance, being able to shred bosses once their stance is broken via spells. We have Gelmir's Fury, that requires 28 int and 15 Faith. And then there's other things as well, like Zamor Ice Storm. That's another balanced boss shredder once you got your stance broken. Of course, you're gonna want a boss that takes Frostbite for that, but still, I mean, being able to combo your Gelmir's Fury with like an oil pot, and also it gets buffed by Flame Grant Me Strength. That's so cool. That's so sick. So I'm gonna be having a really good time with that. Of course, being able to stance break not only with the Meteoric or Blade, but with other setups I'll have in the future, like trying to think, like Twinned Night Swords plus Ice Spear, that sort of deal, or just Lion's Claw or something of the sort on the Twinblade. You can put a lot on Twinblades. Glintstone Phalanx. What an excellent thing to break boss stance. Just phenomenal. You see, just like a couple seconds ago, that the way that Blackblade Kindred just paused. He just got stuck for a moment. A goofy ass boss, man. This boss fight is so janky at this location. It is what it is. But you can see that, of course, this weapon is so underrated. Big stance damage, great R2 chain. It's still got bleed, man. It's got extra poise damage compared to other katanas. And not only that, but you can still make use of that wonderful regular moveset either on foot or on horseback, just to get some DPS in, and it can benefit from that. So, solid weapon to sneak in, even behind Crucible Knight type enemies. You know, fairly fast punishing enemies. You can just use the normal moveset and go to town with whatever attack is necessary for the moment. You know, you got a ground type attack, you can jump over it and use a jumping heavy, classic jumping heavy. Or a running attack, you know, rolling attack is good, all sorts of things are nice. Spicy kill, Blackblade Kindred done. I really just wanted the early runes so that I could explore my build, get all of the base stuffs out of the way, and then start investing in int proper. So as you see stat-wise here, we're going to go up to 60 Vigor eventually. We've got, it's going to be like 28 Mind, 26 Endurance, and then we're going to have a 15 Strength, that's already maxed out, 18 Dex, that's good, that's already maxed out as well. The int is going to be 60, Faith is going to be 15, and then Arcane's just base, which at the Vagabond is 7. This is exactly 150 rune level, so that's going to be fantastic for your PVE shenanigans. And man, is a really good balance of all sorts of things int, and of course, I mean, being able to play with these restrictions and still kick all kinds of ass in a satisfying way is very fun. Being able to kind of get in the zone with these boss fights, have a balanced, fun back and forth, good experience, and then also kind of be aware of all the nuances of your build and the best ways to take them out. It's a very difficult thing that comes with many hours of play. I have over 1,000, and I've played Dark Souls 3 Bloodborne before in Sekiro. So I have the quote-unquote Souls vet behind me, you know. I have that to say for my experience. I'm still human. You're gonna make mistakes. That's why I have big armor. That's why we're gonna have 60 vigor. That's why I'm gonna have a lot of endurance for all of that. And that's why I always go for at least 51 poise. Keep your armor such that you have a good ratios of equip load, just physical defense. Well, you can swap it out depending on which boss you're fighting if they do a certain type. And then of course your poise, so that you have at least 51 to tank some light boss attacks even. And keep going in with your charge R2 or maybe some sort of spicy move like Gelmir's Fury or what have you. It's just so hype. But here we have excellent use of the uncharged Ichimonji here. Our charged, our R2 moveset is just ridiculous on this weapon. I'm just, you know, I just don't care. Stylish kill. She went for the overhead and I just sliced her in half. Very stylish. But yeah, you know, sometimes you just feel like you want to just spam shit and you don't even care. Now, I could have gone over and killed the Erdtree avatar, or the Putrid avatar right near here. And I'll do that some other day, because I've already fought one Putrid avatar today, I'm chilling. But getting that fire-cracked crystal tier, that's going to be good for your roiling magma strats. That's going to be good eventually for your Gelmir's Fury strats. It's going to be so, so nice for that. Love that. Now, maybe in the DLC, we'll actually get some sort of interesting, oh god, performance issue there. Ugh. Fucking nasty, dude. But maybe in the DLC we'll get some really cool, like a fire weapon or two, magma, that scales off of int. That would be sick. Currently your magma blade in Volcano Manor, which is very, very strong. It's one of my restricted weapons in any run. That thing scales off of strength and faith pretty equally. I believe it's CC scaling. Gets an E scaling in Dex, if I recall correctly, and it's nasty. On my second run, it was my primary Sombra weapon, so basically my primary boss killing weapon, and it was absolutely filthy. Shredding bosses like it was nothing. Absolutely disgusting. Oh my god. And yeah. It took hardly any skill. It was fun while it lasted, but it doesn't last very long for me personally. So here, I have the faith. I want to go grab Flame Grant Me Strength. And yeah, I can just do Fort Gale North. That's why I'm on this whole adventure. It's a fun time. Yeah, horseback moveset, no problem. But yeah, I want to get Flame Grant Me Strength so that I can use that to buff up for the Greyoll fight. That's a fun fight. That I mean, a lot of fights during this run, during this recorded video, you know, I'm doing post commentary. A lot of them are really smooth, and I love that. Look at the Ichimojis. Look at that. No charge, just I don't care. Just kill him. He's done. Can't really do anything. So good. It's so good for... I mean, I don't want to say no reason because it's heavy as shit and you gotta go through this annoying spot in Caelid to get it, but you can get it real early. You know, you get yourself teleported out the Selly Crystal Tunnel real early in Limgrave and the Dragonburn Village or whatever. Dragonburn Ruins. And, yeah, there's a classic route out to get a whole bunch of loot. Of course, I've already done Selly Crystal Tunnel. absolutely destroyed the Falling Star Beast with the Meteoric Ore Blade. I already have that on video though, on another run. My strength int highlights when I had, honestly, suboptimal stats for that build. I should have been optimizing specifically for the Ruins Greatsword, and I wasn't. Regardless, it was absolute destruction with the Meteoric Ore Blade, and man, it's so fun. I love using this weapon. It's so great. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've failed to get the drop-down plunging attack there. I think I have to use... Do I have to use Jumping Heavies? I don't remember. I usually just go grab Flying Grant Me Strength and then move on. It is what it is. But yeah, anyway, now I have it. So now I can buff up 15% additional physical damage and fire, but mainly just physical at this point in the game. And get that stam regen boost, which is amazing on every build. And it will stack with Golden Vow, even for my little dagger. And it will stack so multiplicatively, so we'll get even more benefits now that I'm using the two of them together. Very spicy. I love the little chip damage from that magic source right through. Of course, we're stacking blood loss build up at the same time through the shield. This build is a shield killer. You trying to turtle around me, or you have some sort of innate defenses? No, you don't, because you know the bleed's coming. It's coming for you. The chip damage, it's coming. Don't even worry about it. This disaster just waiting. I'm really fishing for that backstab. I love the Knight AI. They don't just give it to you. You have to really get a good read on them and punish them. And then you get your bonus reward. I love me a good charge R2 on Wake Up. So I'm climbing up here because I'm in the zone, and I'm like, why am I climbing up here? There's just a portal to the bridge. I don't really care. Because I want to get the golden seed on the way to the bridge. So it's just kind of ridiculous. I don't grab the Star Scorch heirloom there. I'm never going to use it. I'm quite literally never going to use it. So I just didn't grab it. Maybe I should have, because I went and grabbed these mushrooms here. It's like, why would I do that and not the other thing? But again, just in the zone, I suppose. Yeah, I'm just going through the motions, grabbing the Qatar. Not going to use that either. It is what it is. I kind of do love cheesing this guy with a rock sling. Buff up a little bit just to get the additional stance damage and overall damage, of course. Yeah, these guys are really wily for projectiles and they'll dodge around, but doesn't exactly matter because rock sling has a little delayed effect. Very scuffed taking the grab, but still devastating. Not above cheese when enemies are that wily. Lion's Claw, fantastic Ashen War. Fantastic. I'm gonna be using Lion's Claw a lot less in this run compared to like every other run. And I'll be doing this because I'm not gonna be using Claymore as much. You know, I might use it here and there for like certain dragons because they're weak to pierce, but generally gonna be using a combination of magic and Meteoric Ore Blade just to get that bleed on. Just very simple, streamlined setup. Have the finesse and the variety in the spells. I feel like that's more interesting for me. I could use a great variety of magic or cold infused weapons that I just kind of have hanging around in my inventory and just put Lion's Claw on them and start dominating, and I feel like it wouldn't be much different than my good old Strength Int Ruins build, which is my favorite build in the game right now. This one might be a second though. I do really enjoy it. Spell swords and all of these types of conceptual gaming is why I chose to go through Souls in the first place. I needed some sort of concept to really start me on that path, and being able to see all the Pyro strats in Dark Souls 3 and the Arcane strats in Bloodborne really sold it for me. I loved it. Because, you know, I come from Final Fantasy background and Champions of Norrath, Champions Return to Arms background. Spell swords are rampant in those games, and I know they play like not as similar to these. I mean, Champions of Norrath and Champions Return to Arms, they are action RPGs, but Final Fantasy is like, I don't know, dude. They don't do action games too well, you know what I mean? I'd rather play a Souls game now. But yeah, I was half and half. I do like RPGs of all kinds, action or otherwise, and of course, if you're just a regular old fan of the channel, you'll know I love Valheim, so that's honestly pretty minimal on RPG systems and mainly just classic survival combat, which is fun. I like that. I like that a lot. But here we go, buffing up all sorts. Let's two-hand. Let's get in there. Hello, Greyoll. We're just gonna chip at this fella's legs and rotate around. Get all sorts of nice damage again. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Love it. As soon as this guy starts to raise his leg up, we're gonna go to the other leg. Just hack away at them chicken feet. Already, 2,000 damage in. Very spicy. There's a bleed. There's the stance break. We're gonna hop off. And yeah, check the damage. This is without the axe talisman. We get that delicious burrito. Take the grab. So much damage plus the bleed on the get up. Bleed on the get up is fantastic because if you bleed when the boss is stance broken most of the time, they're just gonna get stunned out of being stance broken for some reason. I think that's a weird design accident on terms of the devs. It's super weird that like, oh, you get this benefit. By the way, you lose a different benefit. It's like, no, I want all of it. I want it all. But yeah, Greyoll I just absolutely destroy. Of course, I was looking for the Lance Talisman earlier up in Stormhill. Couldn't find it. Wasn't bothered because I realized that a Green Turtle Talisman would just carry me just fine. I would want to deal damage on horseback and on foot for that boss, and well, shit. Did me wonderfully. Yeah, again, just decimating these later game bosses with a level 60-ish character. So much fun. Love that. I don't know why I'm hesitating. Just raise that int, man. Raise that int. You can see all the different options that I could have here. Twinblade here, just checking the stats, see how much it raises with each point here. How much offense do I have now? And the answer is still quite a bit. Especially relative to where I should be in the game. You know, fighting some earlier game shit. Even early Liurnia, I still kind of destroy. Especially with the Meteoric Blade, but damn. I love to keep a clean inventory. I used to not. I used to want everything in there, but once I started sorting, I couldn't stop. Just get everything unnecessary out of there. For the Twinblade and also sometimes for the Meteoric Blade if you're just going for decent amount of DPS, which is often with the Twinblade, but sometimes with the Meteoric Blade, you're probably going to want a attack up on successive hits talisman, like the one I'm going for now. Going for the Winged Sword Insignia, it's just a really good one to get early. It's just a really easy, clean Rot Knight boss. The dungeon, even though it's poison, even though it seems kind of annoying, it's very streamlined. If you get that arterial leaf on the right there in the lake, a lobster will show up immediately out of the ground. And lobsters are no good. No good. I think that's also strange design that they don't drop anything useful. And they don't drop like 10,000 runes or some shit like that. They're just stage hazards, basically, to avoid. And that's fair. I can just avoid them. But it ain't as satisfying as other huge enemy bosses or mini bosses or what have you that you could fight in Souls games. It's just not as satisfying. So it just pales in comparison. Should have grabbed that crystal cave moss. It's really good for making anti-rot boluses. What are they? Purifying boluses? Something like that? The sort of salmon-colored ones. The best ones in the game. But yeah, they take Sacramental Bud, Crystal Cave Moss, and something else. For some reason, that guy on the cliffside there just lets me buff up. Silly guy. Little patch on the left here that you don't get poison build up. That's nice. Buffing up for free. This is some spellsword shenanigans. This is why on this build I go for Twinblade. You can one-hand it, you can two-hand it, not really much of an issue. I'm going back and forth here, just get my rock sling in. Rock sling also has a deal of convenience, but it's nowhere near as convenient as like Moonveil. Yeah, just interrupt his attacks. That's like the biggest thing. Interruption, stance damage, you have to be decently skillful to make the most use of it. Just spamming it isn't going to be good enough. Because if you stance break at a distance, you're not making the most out of your stance breaks. Now we have that talisman. Could have used that during the Greyoll fight as well, but yeah, for everything, it's just better for Green Turtle. It's just an all-around great talisman, just like Erdtree Favors. All-around solid talisman. I love using the fellas here, the little vulgar militiamen at this area, Dragon Barrow, just for getting all sorts of easy runes early game to top myself off or buy from shops early, just get everything sorted out. Very convenient. Here I'm just going for an easy level up, no problem. I could go in Liurnia and just head over to the Knights Cavalry and kill that guy and get my Ice Spear Ash of War and start dominating with the Twinblade. But I figure, nah, that would be a little too much at this point. It's just so strong. And I'm already doing so well because I love Twinblades. It's something that I gravitated towards immediately. Something that almost made me get Dark Souls 2. But hey, it's an Elden Ring, so there's that. I said I was from Final Fantasy community. Well, I especially love Final Fantasy IX. It's my favorite game ever. And yeah, main character in that game has a Twinblades, which are called Thief Swords in that game, but yeah, same sort of idea. Here's something interesting. I love using the large club just for blunt damage, but this battle is going to be something that even kind of fucks me up. It just shook me when I dominated this fight. Spoiler alert, I pop off. You know? Shit. It is what it is. Replacing the charge attack with Strength Knot, we're going to be using Order's Blade here that deals double damage against undead. Of course, this enemy is already really weak to Holy and Blunt. So, dealing a whole bunch of blunt damage and holy damage that can just modify itself. Stacking with the usual buffs. It's absolutely disgusting. Plus, this boss, of course, every Deathbird and Deathrite birds are weak on their head, so I'm going to take this +3 large club. That's it, just a +3 large club. And, well, I'm not going to speak when the fight is happening. You'll see. Yep. I love Lion's Claw, man. Also, just tip for Deathbirds. You want them to try to peck you. You see how it pecked me and I just didn't give a shit? Because I have a decent amount of poise? You get that 51 plus poise? You want them to peck you all day long. It's very, very low damage relative to how much, especially Death Rite birds can throw out. And then you can just go and go ham on their weak spot, and then stance break them, and then go ham again. It's like getting them to do their little roar that builds up some death blight, or peck you in front of their heads. That's the easiest way to take them out. There was a really weird miss with Lion's Claw, the first Lion's Claw that I tried, but I think that's just Elden Ring hitboxes and animations being pretty good in that case specifically. Yeah, Order's Blade, large club. I could have had that large club upgraded more, but shit. I didn't need to. Dominated fight. I mean, nobody showed that to Asmongold, let's just say. Yeah. I think he would actually lose his mind. The poor guy had a bad time with the Death Rite bird up in the mountaintop of the giants, and well, I kind of just destroy every Death Rite bird and Death Bird at this point, so it is what it is. And yeah, now I have Death's Poker, which I very well could upgrade up to plus however in this run and just absolutely start to shit on every single boss and enemy with impudence, but no, I'm not going to do that. So it won't be much fun to me. Here I decided to do Redmane Castle with the good old Meteoric Blade. I love doing Redmane Castle early just because it's well, it's a lot of fun. But especially on strength builds and faith builds, you get yourself the red hot wet blade really early before all the doors shut for the festival. And you just have a really good variety of options to use. Like now you can use a faith scaling thing really early. Now you can use a strength scaling thing other than heavy really early. It's just so much variety. It's incredible. I love getting that wet blade early. Carrying Slicer here just because these guys are really trying to get you to roll off the edge, and being able to just slice and dice and just not care because I have 51 poise. That's good. That's real nice. Yes, I could have just dropped some R2s with the Meteoric Blade, but I didn't want to risk it. That Carrion Slicer is going to be far less balanced in the far future. But for now, it's just okay. Just used it for that niche purpose, and honestly, that's fine. I love that little bait and switch movement there that sometimes you can do with mobs. Once you realize that they have positioning based AI in certain cases, you can just punish them to such a satisfying degree. It's like, oh, you want to use this really slow move when we're at a certain distance? Let me like bait that out with like positioning. It's like, oh, do a little punish here. Like that's nice. It's spicy. A little tactical thing. It's meta tactical, but that's fine. Leads to some amazing gameplay. That's honestly what a lot of meta design does in gaming. You have to have a little bit of that in order to have a very satisfying gaming experience. Although, I suppose that's relatively subjective. Satisfying, you know? Different games have a much differing level of flaws for the fun aspect, if we're being real. It is what it is. It's why people play poker and not just chess. Everybody's got their own tastes. I love that moment they just blow themselves up. Very funny. Mm. That running attack there dealing pierce damage, that's quite nice. You can get counter damage on that, but the spacing with that is very satisfying. Speed too. Speed, spacing, range, counter damage. You don't get as much counter damage because, well, it's split with magic and, well, you know, counter damage only works with physical for some reason, I guess. You know, it's something that always bothered me is magic damage. You couldn't call it like soul element or some shit. Why is it called magic? Nobody's gonna, you know, refer to it as like a convenient thing. It's never ever going to be. Oh, I need to drink some water. It's never ever going to be convenient. Never ever in the community, because doing magic, great use of gravitas, by the way. Scuffed kill, but love gravitas on flying enemies. It's never going to be convenient as a damage type name, because any type of casting that you do is going to be called magic. Any type of spell casting, people are going to always refer to it as magic. So it's like, why would you have a damage type that's just called magic? You might as well just call it woo. It's like, that would be honestly just better because of the distinction. It's like, oh, we do the woo type damage. Woo. Great. Amazing drop there. 1, 2, and a 3. Damn. I love getting the 2s and 3s there. You can drop 4s as well. Huh. That's good. But the 3s are really the bottleneck at this point in the game. Smithing and Somber, getting 3s is a royal pain in the ass. You could go over the EG real early and just buy a fuck ton of 3s, but I didn't want to do that. I'm staring this guy down like, hello. Again, I want to bait out some move, backstabbing. I love backstabbing these Redmane knights. I love how complicated these knights are compared to your Dark Souls 3 knights. The basic knights, not like the black knights. The black knights were always more interesting. This dog is, well, you know, what's a dog doing? You know? It's a bit odd. I'll take it though, dogs are annoying. In Elden Ring. This is an interesting moment with the pages. One of those strange enemies. They have this annoying thing where they jump back with like infinite poise. And there are quite a bit of enemies which the game just says, oh, it's doing this move now, so you can't interrupt it for the whole duration of the animation. The most infamous one being Millennia's sidestep, I would say. But I look at that and I'm like, really? There's no like indicator that they're gonna do this? That I can like do something else? It's just random chance? Like with pages I can say, well, you know, I probably need to kill them in 3 hits, so I'm gonna do some big damage and kill them before they can jump back. But like Millennia? Hello? Like shit like that, I'm like, really? For real? What are we doing here? Why are we breaking like weird stance and staggering rules? Not stance damage, but like, why are we breaking staggering and hit stun rules for these enemies? Doesn't make any sense. Give them an indicator if they're doing something special, so that people just don't think like they're suffering from random bullshit, which is what they are. It is random, you know. But I think a lot of people give From Software the pass on these things, and a lot of jank that might be present in their games because the game is hard, you know. And they say, oh, well, you know, I could I could describe, I could like look into what's happening proper, or I could just say, well, the game is hard, and just not think about it. And a lot of people are just completely unthinking, and they say, well, you know, the game is hard, you know. It's like, well, you know, I have certain mistake-making moments sometimes, but in no way do I have major skill issues with the game. And still, I can accurately point out some bullshit here and there when I see it. So, you know, gotta be aware of that. Like that's bullshit right there. What the fuck was that hitbox game? Definitely not a skill issue. And we're definitely not saying game hard for that. No, game jank. Game a tad jank, alright? It is what it is. Tad bit of jank. Maybe it gets sorted out when the DLC comes out, maybe it doesn't. It's probably gonna be new jank. But, new DLC will come with a bunch of new patches too, so there's that. Very excited for that. Very, very excited. Here's our fancy wet blade. Hooray! Wet blade. You know, in addition to a lot of people saying, oh, game hard, and then just not thinking in terms of if they've encountered jank or not, a lot of people will also just bash their metaphorical head against the wall on certain bosses, just hoping for like good boss RNG or what have you, or just like not looking inward to potentially change their build or optimize in any way that you would do in a more standard RPG, because game hard. No, I can't get better. That's just how the game is. Game hard. And I think that's so goofy. That's so silly. Like the game's reputation of being game hard is causing a lot of very, very casual players to remain casual and just not engage meaningfully in this community in quite a variety of aspects, including enemy boss design, PVE builds, and such. It's quite unfortunate, but yeah, it's the game reputation allows this to fester, and it just is what it is. And Miyazaki does try to stop it. He does, because he says, I don't want you guys to look at this like just hard game. You can't just say game hard when shit goes awry, you know. It's a challenging game, but the challenge is to be overcome. Look at that Giant's Hunt dodge, by the way. Haven't seen that knight use Giant's Hunt in a long time. Usually they use Lion's Claw. Also, they get to use 2 Ashes of Wars on the same weapon. Would be nice, you know, it would be great. Oh well. Would be nice. One more spot before I go back to the Grace and level up and rest and all that. One more thing to do. You can see me kind of swapped over to Carry and Slicer just in case, because it's a nice horizontal move. I can just get right under this pumpkin head's real tough defenses. But again, like I mentioned earlier, for shield guys, you know, they're gonna get the bleed anyway, and well, the head's only on one side because of his posture. Check that. Bled. The one hit where I would have hit the head, bled. Done and done. That was probably the smoothest kill of that pumpkin head I've ever had. Sometimes it's a real pain in the ass, but, you know, this time, not at all. I decided to fight the duo boss here, sort of stagnated duo. It's a kind of a DPS check in a sense, and I wish there were more duo bosses that were specifically staggered out like this. One boss, you get him to a certain point, oh, here's another guy, here he is. That's really cool. There's a Erdtree avatar on the mountaintop of giants, which splits himself into 2, and that's excellent. I love that. I killed that guy with Gelmir's Fury in the past. I'm going to do it again on this character. Great deal of fun. With that second Smithing Stone 3, I get to upgrade that Twinblade. Fun time. And yeah, you can see it's just a bunch of jank in my inventory. I'm like, gotta sort it out. Gotta sort it out after that run. I feel like Crucible Knight Duo in the Ariza Hero Grave should be the same way, where it's staggered one and then the next. Or just like in an interesting sense, like you can make plans and notice certain types of pathing. Like for the 2 tree sentinels, one of them you get close enough it starts walking down, and then you don't have to aggro it at the same time at all if you're playing well. That one's good. Of course, the latest few times I've been fighting the Crucible Knight duo, I've just been destroying them anyway, so such is life. I'm used to it by now. I've fought them many times. It is what it is. But still, I feel like this is just such a better example of duo fight design. I love it so much. By the way, did you notice I was heavy load? Because I didn't. Until then. Yeah. Not very good. But still, charged R2 chain on this weapon. All the buffs. The fact that it's a +6 somber. Done and done. And at a distance where I can just change my setup. Medium load. Let's go, Crucible Knight. I'm just going to take a sippy. This is the first Crucible Knight I've fought in this playthrough, and oh boy, I have a blast with all sorts of different moves. Charge R2, running attack, rolling attack, jumping attacks. There's a rolling attack. I'm baiting out his shield bash so that I can punish it. Standing R1 there. Another standing R1. Just getting these consistent moves. There's a jumping R1 into stance break. Take the grab. Now we can get ourselves. Boom. Just tank that, no problem. Jumping heavy. Roll inward, jumping heavy. So good. So much variety in the way that you take him out. Running attack. What a stylish way to kill him. Oh my god. Probably the smoothest way to beat these bosses. And first trying them, I don't think I've ever first tried them. Especially not at a lower level like this. I'm usually pretty damn high level when I fight these guys. I usually fight them after Redmane, so it is what it is. But, damn. Super satisfying. I love how satisfying that is. And yeah, man, Meteoric or Blade. Charged R2s, and then also your regular moveset. Just as good. Equip this Vi-Hander just to show respect to Jaren here. And that'll be it for today's episode. And I'll see you guys some other time. Bye.